YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing tip video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Just finished up a show for Let's Fish TV on Wilson Lake, and let me just tell you guys, it was on fire. The TV show is going to be absolutely fantastic, but today's video is going to highlight a way to catch fish in the springtime that is a great way to get kids involved. You know, it's a great way to get more kids out there catching bass, and that's what it's all about, is getting those kids and having them a good time. And right now is a great time to be on the water. But hey, real fast, if y'all haven't yet, go ahead and drop down the bottom right hand corner, hit that sub button, and drop me a comment below. What is the #1 bait that you think a kid would enjoy fishing? And I'd love to see what it is. So y'all drop that below and let me know what y'all think. And also, if y'all can, like the video. You know, this weird algorithm that YouTube has, if you don't like and comment, it just doesn't really work too well. So make sure y'all do those two things. Greatly would appreciate it. And thank y'all guys again. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. You know, this time of year is one of my favorite times of year to fish. You know, you can catch bass with a shad spawn. You can catch bass that are spawning, post-spawn, out deep. There's a variety of different ways to catch bass right now. Well, one of my favorite ways to catch a bass right now is throwing a popper. And not just any popper, a KVD Splash. And you know, you can use a pop-ar, you can use a lot of different popping baits. But one that in particular that I really like is the KVD Splash Junior. This is what I use this time of year to cover a lot of water. A lot of times these bass in really shallow water eat really small 2.5 inch shad, and that popper is the perfect size for that bait. So how does that relate to kid fishing? Well, this evening in particular, I went out there and we absolutely smashed them on the popper. We didn't catch any big ones. Hey, well, I take that back. We caught one big one. But all the rest were just those right size 1 3/4 to 2 pound bass. Just a lot of fun. You know, and the thing is what we were doing is going in these spawning pockets, and we were taking that popper and just covering water down the bank. You know, this is a great way to catch bass in the evening time. So, you know, kids are at school, you know, they're having to deal with all that stuff. So in the evening, it's the perfect time to take them right before bedtime, and you can take them down the bank. I remember going back with my dad a long time ago when I was a kid, and in the evening time, one of our big things that we'd do, we'd get a popper and we'd go down the bank right at dark. I mean, really right at dark. And we would catch 3 or 4 or 5 bass, and those are things that I remember this day. So if you can, get out there, take your kid fishing, get them a popper, like a little KVD Splash. Color, I try to keep it just a shad color. I don't know if it really matters too much, like a bone. Something white is just really good. That particular popper, as you can see here in this video, I'm actually overlaying a few shots of today of catching a few bass on the popper. And the way I fish it, I do it a little bit different than some. I actually use braided line. I think braided line casts easier, especially with a lightweight popper. You can even throw a spinning rod on that. So like, you don't have to have a bait casting rod, but I use anywhere between a 6'6" and a 7-foot medium to medium heavy action rod. Honestly, guys, like, we overcomplicate it. I mean, you don't have to use like a true topwater rod. You can just make it super simple. But I use a 30-pound braided line Strike King Tour Grade braid, and I actually tie this little small leader on there. I like a 17-pound mono leader. And what it does is, whenever you're fishing that popper, if you use just straight braid and you go to pop it, that front hook will hang on your line a ton. By using that mono and a loop knot, I can absolutely eliminate that. I can actually walk that popper all the way back to the boat. It absolutely smashes them this time of year, and all the way through the summer. I mean, it's literally a bait that I have on my deck this time of year, and it never comes off. I mean, it's so effective and so good, and it's just a lot of fun. So you can take that popper, you can catch a bunch of bass. Another alternative is obviously a Ned rig. You know, I caught a bunch today on a Ned rig as well. Caught one big one, a really big one actually. You don't typically catch giants on a Ned rig, but I did today. I mean, it was like almost a 5-pounder. I mean, it was a big one. And But those two baits, the Ned rig and the popper, are just absolute killers. Right now is the time to get out on the lake and go bass fishing. If you only are, you know, where you can fish in the evening, throw that popper. If you can fish during the day a little bit, that Ned rig's just going to get you a bunch of bites. Once again, a great way to get kids involved. That open hook, or even a weed guard Ned rig, you know, they don't have to set the hook really hard. It makes it super simple and easy for them to catch the bass. And that's what it's all about, guys. Like, we got to make it easy for these kids. So a Ned rig and a popper, hands down, going to get you those bites. The Ned rig, though, I use the Ocho, the Ned Ocho that we designed just for that. An 1/8 ounce jig head gets the call every time. 10-pound braided line to an 8 to 10-pound leader. If it's a kid fishing, I'd say 10. And the reason is because they tend to horse the fish in. They don't really play it the way it's supposed to. So upsize that leader slightly, and I think you'll see a better result that way. I don't know if the line size really matters as far as getting just a ton more bites, but it definitely matters when you go to land them and you're just horsing them in and reeling them through the guides, basically, because we've all seen kids do that. But ultimately, guys, if you can, make sure you hit that sub button in the bottom right-hand corner. Comment below, like I said before, what is the #1 bait that you put in a kid's hand to try to catch them some fish? I know that my son absolutely loves seeing a topwater strike, and there's nothing better whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. And that Ned rig absolutely catches them. There's no wrong way to fish it. I keep it simple on those two things. Keep it simple, take kids fishing, and I think y'all will enjoy it at the end of the day. So thank you again, all of you who watch this video, and make sure you share it with a friend. Share it with that friend that needs to take their kid fishing, and I hope they have just as much fun as I do when I take Kane on the water. We'll see you on the next video. I was worried that it's even legal to fish this kind of stuff.
Worried about what?
If it's legal. I was worried.
There was no sign there.
Yeah, no. There's one. Oh, big one, big one. There we go. Oh man, it's a good one. Stay button, baby. Oh, don't jump, don't jump. Oh yeah, it's big large now. Come on, baby. Stay, buddy. Whew! Giant Ned rig bass, guys. Giant Ned rig bass. There we go. Ooh. Check that one out. I'm gonna get this thing turned a little bit. Woo! Made a little change and caught a nice bass. That's what I'm talking about right there. Look at the size of that one. Just a giant bass on the little Ned rig.